Very warm welcome to StudyIQ, my dear friends. I am Prashant Mavani. I hope you all are doing good. Today is 12th August 2020, and I would like to start today's discussion with this small prayer called Shri Krishna Sharanam Mama, a very important mantra or a small prayer this is. And today is Janmashtami, so first of all, let me wish all of you a very happy Janmashtami. May God bless us all. Dear friends, I am reading a very interesting book by Dale Carnegie. He's a very famous writer. I'm reading a book called How to Stop Worrying and Start Living. And in this book, he shares a very interesting incident that when Dale Carnegie was a small child, his family was very poor. They were not having enough money and they were going through so many dark phases. Too much debt on his father, and his father was not able to take it anymore, and one day he decides to commit suicide. So while he was about to jump from a tall bridge, all of a sudden he remembers the prayers that were sang by her wife, and that is Dale Carnegie's mother. And she used to pray before meal, and she used to pray while she was working in the field. So this gave a ray of hope to his father, and his father steps down from that bridge and he comes back to his home, and then after a few years everything gets okay. So his father was somewhere around 45 years when he was in this dark phase, when he was in fact he tried to commit suicide. But luckily, that prayers that were sang by his wife saved him. And this gave him a ray of hope. So, the reason why I'm sharing this thing with you guys, this mantra, Shri Krishna Sharanam Mama, basically means that I'm giving everything, means my whole life. My Lord, I surrender myself to you. So whatever is happening with me, whether good or bad, everything is because of you. And if something bad is going on in my life, then I know that one day it will get over, and you are there, you are watching everything. And this is any prayer, right? A prayer, I don't know the real thing, how it works, to be honest, but I know that prayer is a sort of technology that gives you this ray of hope. And I don't know what it does, but it fills you with hope, it fills you with energy. So always remember that whenever you are in dark phase, right, the best thing that I can tell you is to pray to God, to pray to Allah, to pray to Krishna, to pray to Jesus, or to pray to any God that you believe in, and that will give you a strength that you need to come out of that dark phase. So again, happy Janmashtami to all of you. And dear friends, StudyIQ team has created smart courses. The good news is that at present, Independence Day sale is going on all our smart courses. To find out more about it, all you have to do is download our mobile application. And this 5% extra discount, this Independence Day sale will last till 17th August. So make the most out of it. You can download the PDF of today's lecture from my Telegram channel. On our table, we have some interesting articles to go through. The first one is about education. Second one is about harassment and online abuse and things. Third one is about environment. And the fourth one is about flood forecasting. And then we have some news items to go through. So let's start our discussion with this article, How Tech is Shaping Education. Now this article is interesting because this article is written by P.K. Mishra. If you don't know who P.K. Mishra is, then P.K. Mishra is Additional Principal Secretary to the Prime Minister. So a very important bureaucrat has written this article. You will find this article in Times of India. And before we jump on to the things about education, on your screen you can see this picture, very famous picture of Spanish flu, right? It took place somewhere around in 1917, 18 or 19, I'm not sure about it, but it took place in late 1910s, right? Maybe in 17 or 18, just check the date or year. I think it is 1918, not sure about the exact year. But anyway, the most important thing is that back in this Spanish flu days, people in America particularly, they were using telephone to get in touch with their friends and family. And this was reported in one of the World Economic Forum's latest report, that over a century ago, at a time of the Spanish flu, when people were isolating themselves, many mostly Americans turned to telephone to get in touch with friends and family. And telephone played a very important role 100 years ago, and at present as well. This telecommunication technologies are shaping our society in a very subtle way. And if you look back, let's say if you look back 10 years ago, a decade ago, then things were so, I would say, means in this 10 years we have jumped great distance in this just 10 years, and all this is possible because of this transportation as well as ITC, that is information and telecommunication technologies. So it has definitely played a very important role, and it is shaping our society as well. And this article is about education. And we all know that because of the social distancing and COVID-19, so many schools, education institutions are not working at present. They are closed, but teachers across the board and all over the country as well as around the world, we find that so many schools and colleges are delivering their lectures online. Many of us are associated with this e-education for a very long period of time. There are so many students. I believe many of you are watching this video today. You have been following this video series or maybe other video series for a very long period of time. So you and I are part of this whole digital education revolution for a very long period of time, isn't it? And we all know that technology is a big game changer. Like a few years ago, maybe 10 years ago, if you see the interviews of so many UPSC pass-outs or these candidates who have successfully made to services, you find that they were limited with so many books, or they were limited with physical material only. But nowadays you find that digital resources have played a very important role. And now we are in such a transitional phase that our one leg is in Industrial Revolution 3.0 and our 1 feet is in Industrial Revolution 4.0. In coming days, we know that the smartphone has revolutionized our society and the way we do things. But in near future, we are going to see the increasing role of artificial intelligence, AR, robotics, blockchain technologies, Internet of Things, and so many other things that are just around the corner. Role of technology has become predominant, and its impact will be felt much more comprehensively in the field of education. Transformational change in online education experience is something that is a reality now, and it is providing us flexibility. It is supplementing the regular classroom-based teaching or pedagogy, like earlier on in traditional system or traditional format. Once the class is gone, it's gone. In digital format, the class stays there for a very long period of time. I'll give you an example of this series, right? Many students, if you are not able to watch it on regular basis or in the morning time or afternoon time, you can watch it later on as well. You can carry on with your job, profession, or if there are any other things that you are reading or studying, then you can do that, and then later on you can go through this video. This is possible because of this digital technology. So it provides us flexibility. We can customize. We can go through the videos and materials or classes at our peak hours rather than following someone else's peak hour, isn't it? So this is providing us flexibility, and flexibility plays a very important role in today's changing world. One more thing that I would like to add here, and I'm sure you are experiencing this thing, but then as well, just to discuss this thing, that so many things that like let's say videos, right? You can run or play videos in classroom on projectors or on your computer screens and so many other things, so that the things like there are so many things associated with universe or planet or maybe so many digestive system, maybe some science things, some geographical areas. If you cannot imagine, like let's say if I tell you about things about Atacama Desert, that one of the driest place on this earth, then it would be difficult for you to imagine like how it would look. But if I show you some pictures, then that pictures will stay in your head forever, isn't it? So it is supplementing regular classroom based pedagogy. Educators could create learning communities like this video or any other video. The comment section is like a learning community. Apart from that, there are so many WhatsApp groups, and there are Telegram groups, and Facebook pages. All these things are learning communities where people interact. Then you have Quora and so many other sites, isn't it, where people interact. Someone will put his or her question, and so many people who are aware about that particular thing, they will reply, they will write down things. Then there are blogs and so many things. So we can create, educators can create, and not just educators, students can also create learning communities. Government of India has launched a national mission on education, and so many initiatives like Swayam Prabha, National Digital Library, E-Yantra, Virtual Lab. All these things are going on, and these initiatives are helping students as well as teachers in upskilling themselves. And these platforms are also providing quality resources. Most of them are free. Encouraging creativity and innovation, particularly among young students, is one of the most important thing. And now we know the importance of human resources or human capital, and we know this thing for sure as well, that if we want to change our society for good, if we want to make our society or sync our society with the requirements, opportunities of 21st century, then we have to have best human resources, right? And this is possible via education, and we can do this thing by collaborating traditional education or traditional way of teaching with digital thing. It is, I see it as a bridge, right? Digital plus traditional. This is the key. It means those people who are saying digital versus traditional, then this is not about versus. It's not which is better. It is about creating the best by dividing, by not dividing this two world. It is by adding this two world, digital world plus traditional world. If you can have a mix of or best of both, then we can create altogether a new learning experience for our younger generation as well as for teachers as well. They can upgrade their skills. Now, National Education Policy 2020 focuses a great deal on technology use and integration, and that's a good thing. NEP recognizes that India is global leader in information and communication tech and other cutting-edge domains such as space. This reminds me of those days where there was a time back 20 years ago, maybe 25 years ago, when mobile phone, people in America, in UK, in developed world, they were using, they've just started using mobile phones. And when companies were talking about introducing mobile phone technologies in India, this argument was going on that in India we have so many illiterate people. They don't know how to use technology. They don't know how to read and write. So how they are going to use mobile phones? But all those critics or those no-sayers, right, they have been proven wrong, because as we know today, right, you find those people who have no formal education, they as well, they are using smartphones. You find street vendors and so many people, right, they are not that educated, but they can use mobile phone very well. They are watching videos, and I have seen them watching YouTube and so many things, and I'm sure you have seen this thing as well. So it's all about technology is if you want technology, if you want to penetrate a particular technology into masses, then you have to make it user friendly, right? It's not about just reading, it's also about symbols, right? All these apps, and they have their own symbols, isn't it? Their icons and logos. So click, or like on your screen you can see this thing, like these apps, right? This icon itself, this is just an icon, so it represents a smartphone. You don't have to every human being can recognize this thing, that this is a smartphone, isn't it? So it's more about pictures, it's more about icons, it's not just about reading. So this user friendliness has allowed us to use this technology, and now we can make education more user friendly. and we can means there are so many kids, not just kids, there are so many people, they you might have heard about these people, many elderly people. They say that in our days we were not fortunate enough to visit schools or go to schools on regular basis, but now they, with the help of this smartphones and tablets and computers, we can provide this opportunity for them to fulfill the dream of getting formal education, isn't it? So Digital India campaign is helping to transform the entire nation into a digitally empowered society and knowledge economy. Right to information. We know the role of right to information, but with the help of this digital technology, access to information has become easier. And this access to information, once you have information, then that can be converted into knowledge. So the relationship between technology and education is bidirectional. National Education Technology Forum (NEFT) will provide a platform for free exchange of ideas and use of technology to enhance learning, assessment, planning, administration, and so on, both for school as well as higher education. National Research Foundation, very important initiative. This NRF, that is part of this NEP 2020. In NEP 2020, we read about this NRF. NRF will initiate and expand research efforts in technology. So more research on AI, developing and deploying application-based research, advancing international research efforts to address global challenges, and much more. COVID-19 and the need of social distancing will force us to conduct exams remotely. That is going to be a bit of challenge because we have this digital divide, we have this basic amenities divide in our country. In various parts of our country, we find that 24/7 electricity is still a distant dream. So students in those areas, how they are going to give their exams, then how we are going to make sure that everyone is playing fair, right? No one is cheating at this online exam. So these are the things. Then internet failure can disrupt your examination. So these are the things, challenges that we need to work on. And I see that that in future we are going to have this e-vote as well. E-voting will make our democracy a bit more mature as well as more participative. More people can participate. Those people who are not able to travel in our country, we have so many migrants, isn't it? Domestic migrants. So they cannot go back just for one day to deliver their vote. But they can do it using e-vote. So many NRIs, right? They want to take part in our polity, and they have the right as well, but they cannot do it because they cannot travel to our country. They have this postal ballot and other facilities, but still it will be much more penetrative using this digital technology. So it is shaping our society in so many ways, in a very subtle ways. If we look back 5 years ago when 4G was not there, then we find that so many things were out of reach. But now so many things we have created, so many new services, so many new business opportunities, and so many things. Now language is going to be a bit of challenge as well. We need those softwares and those things that can convert, because our country is a multilingual country. In a state as well, you will find various different words when it comes to local language or regional language or vernacular language. So we need those softwares or those technologies through which we can easily convert English or German or French material into more logical as well as grammatically correct vernacular material. So for that we need cutting edge research as well as technology, and we need to enhance capacity of our teachers as well. So many traditional teachers or regular teachers who have been teaching students for a very long period of time in traditional setup, now they are finding a bit challenging to teach students online, but I think with the right program we can enhance their skills. Last portion of this particular article, one of the most important thing for your examination. I find this particular topic very important. You may find one essay topic on Atma Nirbhar Bharat, or they can ask you this question about what Atma Nirbhar Bharat is all about. So at surface level, it looks like it is all about making more products in our country and generating more services in our country and then delivering it or catering it to various different countries or markets of the world. But it's not limited to that. The writer here, one of the most important bureaucrat, he is talking about one of the most important things, subtle thing, that Atma Nirbhar Bharat is about social change paradigm, right? Every individual, the main aim of Atma Nirbhar Bharat is to create this sense in every individual that he or she can play a very important role in nation building. And it is this Atma Nirbhar Bharat is also about encouraging everyone, every single individual, every single citizen to strive for excellence in whatever they are doing. If you are a gardener, then how you can create those shrubs and herbs through which we can that can help in Ayurveda or in medicinal plants, how teachers can create human capital, how students can give their best. So each and every one of us, how we can deliver our, or what do we say, we can perform at our peak potential. So that's what Atma Nirbhar Bharat is all about. And just imagine if 130 crore people, if we just for a second, if you imagine if every one of us will do our best, then it can add that speed that we need to transform our country into a developed nation, isn't it? So this is one of the most important portion of this article. Now let's move on, dear friends, but before that, please make sure that you share this lecture with other students. Hit the like button if you have learned something from today's discussion, and please don't forget to subscribe to our YouTube channel. Now, online abuse is a big problem. We were talking about technology, positive role of technology. See, technology in itself is neutral, right? It is not a living thing. Technology means we are always going to be there behind the technology. So it depends on us. If we are using technology for productive thing, then it is going to add value to our life. If we are using it for bad things, then it is going to destroy our life. Now, what we find these days, and it's not just a recent thing, but it's going on from a very long period of time, that so many people, particularly this happens with girls and women, like their pictures and their photos are being used, and so many of them are being blackmailed, and many times so many people, they do this thing to blackmail girls, right? When they are in relationship, they will click some photos and then they will threaten them that they will share this thing online if they don't give them money or some other things in return. So this sort of blackmailing is going on as well. And normally a quick fix is deactive social media handles. Like girls are being asked by their parents or loved ones or their friends or someone that the best thing is to deactive your social media handles. But why? Right? Why always they have to pay? Why it is always girls who are being asked to do this thing? The reason is that we need to. It's not just limited to social media. What we need to do is we need to add this thing in our society, educating and creating awareness in boys and girls, young boys and young girls particularly, because they are malleable, and you can shape a positive mindsets at their young age. Right? If we train our boys, that means you cannot abuse girls. Right? This is not a good behavior. This is a bad behavior. If we train them, how it is going to impact them particularly as human beings as well as society. And if 50% of this planet Earth, right, 50% population is of women. So if they are not empowered, then the rest 50% men are never going to be empowered. The National Commission for Women has reported a surge in domestic violence and cyber crimes, and we have talked about this thing early on as well, that it is not just this COVID-19 lockdown pandemic, this COVID-19 pandemic lockdown that was creating pressure on human beings, but more pressure was created on girls and women, because we saw so many reports of domestic violence during this lockdown. Against this background, UNESCO, UNICEF, UN Women, UNFPA, South Asia Foundation joined hands recently to support Nandita Das in the production of a short film called Listen to Her. I'm not sure about this film, but I will definitely find out what it is all about. It sounds interesting. Recently, NCERT with UNESCO, they have launched this safe online learning in times of COVID-19. It's like an information booklet that can help parents as well as parents, teachers as well as students, how they can create safe digital spaces and address nuances of privacy, especially in this current context. Action for Equality program. The core of this program is to create community-based behavioral change program designed to provide young boys with skills and knowledge they need to challenge existing gender norms and take actions to end violence and discrimination against women and girls. See, one thing that we have to remember, that this fight is not about, it's not limited to women and girls, right? We need to rope in boys and men as well, because the biggest threat for women and girls, and this is very unfortunate, the biggest crimes faced by women and girls are conducted by boys and men. So we have to work on both ends, right? As human beings, we all are equal. But when we want to empower our women, when we want to create a safe society for women and girls, for that we have to educate women and girls, of course, but there should be a proper training of boys and men as well. And then only we can end this gender-based discrimination. And schools, colleges, household, right, locker room areas, they can be places where this sort of discussions can take place. And with this Me Too campaign, remember hashtag Me Too campaign? Before that, we used to believe, generally speaking, there was this belief that only in poor country and poor household we find this abuse. But Me Too campaign has raised this curtains on this thing, that it's not just poor girls or poor household or poor countries, right? In Hollywood as well, you find so many famous actresses, they have gone through abuses. But the good thing is that now they can. There was a time in America as well where girls were not able to come out and say things about or share their bad experience about abuse, and they were frightened. There was this time, that girls used to keep this thing with themselves rather than reporting it to police. But now in India and around the world, we find that because of this social change, we find that they have this courage, and it's their right as well. If anyone goes through any sort of abuse, then they should report it to police and they should bring it out to the world. I know it's very challenging. I know that it's very difficult to do, easy to say, but because of all those brave girls and brave women, now other girls are also reporting it, and this has created means those potential abusers, they are frightened now that those days are gone when girls used to keep it with themselves. And because they are now coming out and sharing their bad experiences, now it is creating a positive change. Now there was a time when the victim was blamed by the society, but now we are shifting, gradually we are shifting to that phase where abusers are being, they means, of course, that's how it should be. Like abusers, if you abuse someone, then you are a criminal. You should feel ashamed of what you have done rather than the victim. So it's all interconnected with each other, and as I told you, right, this battle cannot be fought in silos. That is not just by girls, but every one of us has to. And at present, this pandemic is like we are at a gateway where our current world and next world, we are right at the gateway. We are exiting our current world and entering into a new world. Next one is about environment impact assessment. A few days ago, we were talking about this environment impact assessment, and it was launched by Environment Ministry back in March 2020. Then we underwent this lockdown, and the deadline was set for 30th June. But so many people, environmental activists, have knocked the doors of Delhi High Court, and Delhi High Court has extended this window till 11th August. That was yesterday. So as per Environment Ministry, they have received some 4 to 5 lakh responses from various different stakeholders, environmentalists, civil society groups, people from ecologically fragile areas. Former Union Environment Minister Jairam Ramesh, states like Kerala, Tamil Nadu, they have responded as well. Unfortunately, Prakash Javadekar is saying that this criticism is premature. But the thing is, see, environment is something that we have destroyed. And when I say it's not about just current government, every one of us, we all are stakeholders, and we all are equally responsible for what is going on with our environment. This environment impact assessment was framed, these are some basic facts that you need to remember. It was framed in 1994 to address the safety concerns raised in the decades after the Bhopal gas tragedy. The EIA is part of Environmental Protection Act 1986. It was last revised back in 2006, and the current draft is not up to the mark. There are so many things that we need to repair in it, right? It should be 100% perfect, because there is no way back. Once we reach a tipping point, once we destroy our environment to an extent, then we cannot do it. After that, if you come out with any policy, that's not going to make a big change. One more important thing, back in 2000, there was this case, Center for Social Justice versus the Union of India. And we see this attitude of government that when it comes to environment protection, in the name of development, government will give permission to destroy so many or convert this agricultural field into non-agricultural land. And once you do that, once you construct something on agricultural land, then that's it, right? That land is destroyed forever. Now you cannot you cannot convert it back to natural agricultural land. Those properties will be destroyed forever. Those natural properties that we find in that natural agricultural land, that will be destroyed forever. So Gujarat High Court has observed that officials are holding public hearings at district headquarters. The persons who are likely to be adversely affected in environmental matters are poor people, and they cannot travel to this district headquarters or your collector's office for every meeting. These meetings should be conducted to those places where you are actually going to create those so-called developmental projects. And the court has also observed that the minutes of this public hearing are either not recorded, and if they are recorded, they are not given to concerned person. Same thing was, something similar was said by Supreme Court in Vedanta verdict of 2013 as well. And then as well we find that EIA has reduced this hearing. It used to be for a month. A 30 days hearing has been reduced to 20 days. And you see this thing, we talked about this thing earlier on, and it's very strange that EIA is talking about giving permission after your construction. So if you are destroying, let's say, part of jungle and then you are creating your factories there, then once you start your factory or once you start construction after clearing jungle, you can apply for permission and then government will give you permission after that. This is not right, isn't it? What we can do is, to speed up process, what we can do is we can make things, we can add technology, and we can find out some standard operating procedures. We can set some SOPs through which things can become much faster when it comes to clearing. Or when I say clearance, I'm not talking about forest clearance, I'm talking about developmental clearance or giving permission to a project. We need to find ways through which we can make it faster. But this is not a way that once you start your project, clearing a jungle or something, and then you apply for permission and then government will give you permission. So there are so many faults or loopholes in this draft, and government should take it seriously, and it should pay heed to what people or stakeholders are saying. Last one is about the importance of flood forecasting. Prime Minister Narendra Modi held a meeting with chief ministers and ministers of those states that are severely affected due to flood, like Karnataka, Kerala, Assam, Bihar, Uttar Pradesh, Maharashtra, etc. And Prime Minister said that we need to have better coordination between central and state agencies. There should be a permanent system of forecasting floods, and extensive use of innovative technology should be deployed so that we can get information as early as possible and we can take necessary steps. Every year we find that we lose crores and lakh of crore worth properties, and destruction of biodiversity, critical infrastructure is destroyed. So many lives are destroyed because of this flood situation that we find every year in all these states in various different severity. So government has created this center, and then later on to sort out things, the government has to spend so much money, give compensation, and again develop all these things, and this is, we are losing huge amount of resources every year because of floods and droughts. So as far as floods are concerned, Central Water Commission has modernized flood management, but still there are huge gaps. There are two types of measures. One is structural and one is non-structural. So when it comes to structural side, it is about management of reservoirs and dams, maintenance of embankments and data collection on rivers, silt bearing capacity, etc. We need to improve all these things. When it comes to non-structural sides, it's about data on river flow and discharge must be enhanced, installation and maintenance of technical equipment, and all the information that you collect. Most important thing is how you can pass this information in layman's language to public, right? We need to provide non-technical language in local language, right? Whatever the local language is, we need to provide this information, convert it into easy to understand format, and then pass it to people so that they can prepare themselves in advance. And there should be an independent evaluation of flood forecasting system so that we know the performance of CWC. And that's basically everything in today's discussion, dear friends. These are few news items, right? I want you guys to go through it and go through it in detail. And that's everything from my side. Thank you very much for watching this video. God bless you all. Jai Hind.